I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager. It's episode 89. Final 2 races of the season, and it's coming down to the wire. I really thought we were going to be out of this thing, and then we've had either a lot of luck or a lot of bad luck or just a lot of momentum swings in any direction. So here's the lowdown on where we're at with 2 races to go. Now, reminder, point system this year, and only this year because we are going back to the regular point system next season, is 10 for a win, 8 for second, and then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 from third down to 8th place. We currently sit in first place in the constructors with a 4-point advantage over Ferrari. 4. That's first to third. Red Bull slipping back a little bit further, are 17 points down with 2 races to go. But first and second is 18 points. There is no bonus points available at all. McLaren is way too far down. They are mathematically eliminated, even though they have 2 wins and 8 podiums this season. Also with 2 wins is Alpine, and they have been strong lately. Mercedes, 3 podiums. Alfa Romeo have 3 podiums. Alpha Tauri got their first podium of the season in this last race with second place finish. Aston Martin have yet to score one. They have 9 points, and Haas have 3. They have managed to score 2 fastest laps. That's how competitive the field is. The only one with nothing up there is Aston Martin, but they do have 9 points, and they scored 2 in the last race, and that's partially because barely anybody finished the last race. That is in big part thanks to Doohan, who crashed out 5 cars all by himself, including himself, in 2 separate crashes. This is how close things are, though. We have 11 podiums this year, 9 fastest laps, 4 pole positions, and we have won 7 races. Ferrari, also 11 podiums. Our 9 fastest laps to their 3 shows that we have been a little bit faster. Our 7 wins to their 4 have been a little bit more. Their pole positions are 3. We've had slightly better pace than them throughout the season, but the Red Bull also have 11 podiums, but just 5 race wins. However, they've had 3 fastest laps and 11 pole positions. Half the races, just over half the races, have been Red Bull on pole. They are the quickest car, and yet they are just 3rd in the championship because of so many mistakes. And then lucky instances, like the last race where Doohan wiped out one of their 2 leaders, or did he wipe out both? No, I don't think he was responsible for both, but they were both knocked out of that last race, and that's what's putting them just about out of reach. Not quite, but just about. With 18 points max, anything more than a 2-point advantage in the coming race will eliminate Red Bull from the constructors. But of course, Red Bull very much still in the drivers' championship. Now, assuming that you could win both races down the stretch, Leclerc could still finish on 104 with Porsche at 103. So all he would need is 2 points to eliminate Leclerc in the Drivers' Championship. But with only a 5-point advantage over Verstappen and them swapping positions for multiple race weekends in a row, Porsche has 6 of the 7 wins that we have this year. He has 9 podiums. Doohan has 5. Doohan has 4 fastest laps. He's good there. 5 fastest laps for Porsche and 4 pole positions. He's definitely been the more consistent driver. The last race was a bit of a problem for him, but he recovered very nicely, and ended up finishing P3, with Perez finishing in P6, and that all happened at the last lap. Huge circumstances on that one. No one at the top scoring very many points besides Perez and Porsche. Bottas down in 10th was the only other top 10 driver to score points in the last race, and so that was a game changer. But we have 2 rounds to go. We're in Brazil, Sao Paulo Grand Prix next. But just how bad is the car right now? Because we've noticed we are getting much slower. Over a grid average, well, we are very average now. We're below average speed. We are exactly average on the low speed and medium speed, and only a little above on high speed cornering. DRS is still slightly above average. And realistically, even our dirty air cornering is now only slightly above average, not even 1% on the high end, where we were pretty dominant recently. Even the brake cooling and engine cooling that had finally reached slightly better than grid average are now once again below grid average. Red Bull, who sit in third and have the best car, well, you can see we're a little bit better on low speed cornering. There's some of that in the last two tracks, but there's plenty of straight lines, and they are much faster in a straight line. They are better in medium speed now, and they are much better in high speed. They have better DRS. It's going to be a problem, but we're not insanely slow compared to them. That half kilometer an hour on the straights, not as big of a problem at the last two tracks as it was in Mexico. And then you have the Ferrari, slightly faster than us, but not significantly. And we are ever so slightly faster in every other respect. And by ever so slightly, I really mean ever so slightly. We are 1% or almost 1% better in medium speed dirty air cornering. We are 1% better in high speed dirty air cornering. Otherwise, we are slightly ahead, 0.001 G's in low speed cornering on what we can handle. I mean, that's it. That is it. Brake cooling, though, nice advantage there, plus 7%. Here's how the cars compare now compared to the rest of the grid. Just looking at the Ferrari, as this is the closer competitor we're going to have to deal with. Red Bull definitely have the best car. I mean, no doubt about that, but they have been inconsistent. Verstappen's still a threat for the Drivers' Championship, but not much of a threat anymore in the Constructors, though it's certainly not over. Now you can see we're back into the grid once again in terms of top speed. Cornering from the top of the grid already down to mid-table when you average that out. DRS top speed is still up there, but it's not like it was. And same with the dirty air cornering. It's still a competitive car, but it's not the second best car anymore. But Ferrari also does not have the third best car anymore, as they've fallen down the order quite a bit here late in the season. Can we get in the points and Ferrari not score points at all? That's looking possible based on kind of where these two cars are at this point. Meanwhile, the Red Bull, not dominant, but still very much at or near the top. I'm guessing McLaren and Alpine in their late surge, maybe Mercedes, are up there. Not the McLaren, wow. How have they been? Oh, they haven't been that competitive lately. It's really been Mercedes and Alpine. Mercedes are first in acceleration and DRS, but they're not showing anything that suggests that they should be on top. Alpine, meanwhile, Alpine's got the best car right now. They've got the best car. Ricciardo was in dominating fashion and then made a big mistake and went to the back. And then I think he made a second mistake, or third. But that's probably the best average out there right now. AlphaTauri have definitely moved off the grid, and they're ahead of us. 2 research projects are done, and we've started the new research period. But again, it's too late for anything to go on the car for this year, so it's research. Straight into the next chassis upgrade in half of our wind tunnel time for the remainder for the year. This is the last time we're going to get it. So drag reduction of 30%. That's a huge, huge decrease. In fact, I should maybe even commit more to it because the other one's only 10%. This will recover 4% in both departments, but still, even then, it's only 68, 66. It's not perfect. Chassis has definitely been one of our weaker areas. And as it's research, we don't have a comparison to everybody else. So we don't quite know where this would put us. But with that big of a decrease, I think it's worth it to put in a little bit extra. We're going to go 3.0 and 40, so essentially 2/3 of our time on this chassis upgrade. And with the added bonus, puts us up to 4.5% and almost 5% gain. And I think that's necessary if we're going to get through the engine cooling. If you put that up, it's going to drop the others down. I don't want to do that. Put it down, it would put them up, actually. A full extra percentage. But the engine cooling, do we want that to improve? You know what? We don't need it to improve. You can see if we pull the focus back, it still improves. And we're getting even more. You know what? I like that. I like that. That's going to really help recover what's being lost. So it's going to put us almost to 70% and over 68. That's a 6% increase. That is a 5.5% increase. And still a marginal increase in the engine cooling as well, which the engine cooling doesn't seem to be quite as important. Anyway, an underfloor research project takes us, I've already assigned 6 engineers to it, the maximum. It's going to pull us right towards 19th of December, so we can do just a little bit of extra focus on it. It's not much of an upgrade, but at least it's something. I mean, it starts the car a little bit better off than it was. You'll take that. High speed? We could get something in the high speed. It'll take 5 days to do that. What about something like airflow sensitivity? That puts us on the 24th. Gets us over 1%. Drag reduction's already really good here. How much more could we get? Not a lot. What would that do? That wouldn't even improve our speed. This is about the dirty air cornering, which is something we've been good at, following other cars closely. So we do want to do that one. We'll pass on the drag reduction this time. It's got such a high score to begin with. And it looks like right now low speed is the one that's going to be most beneficial. And that's 29 December. That's about all we can manage. All right, pushing it right to the end for $1 million. We're going to do it. We're going to get a very marginal underfloor upgrade, but this was something we were first. Handful of races ago. We're probably not first in this department anymore, but it's hard to get much more when you're already at 85% and, topping 80%. But we're inching what we can out of this without using any tunnel time. I'll take that $1 million investment. Simulator upgrade is complete. We're getting so close to having all upgrades done. I think Porsche combined with the pace of the car, now that the braking's at 85, it's going to be good enough for a little bit. I wanted to improve that. I wanted to get them all up to 85 and improve our pace even more. But the mistakes are what's costing us, not the pace. We've managed to be competitive and have pace and make moves and overtakes even with, low overtaking defending skills of 70-72 and not having the adaptability. But the smoothness is good enough. The accuracy and control seem to be the only thing that are really holding us back, even though they're good. So accuracy, ability to follow the racing line as accurately as possible. This reduces the chance of a driver losing time or their car taking damage from running wide while racing. That's like floor damage from running wide. The control one, I think, is more important, the ability to prevent racing incidents. This reduces the likelihood of the driver causing lockups, spins, crashes, or running wide in general. I think we need to keep on going and get this all the way up to a 90. Which means Doohan, who's got an 85 in these two departments and is a little bit off on the pace compared to Porsche, that braking, you'd like to see that get to an 85. That was 81, 85, 81 for Porsche. But control. He's starting to make less mistakes a little bit here towards the end of the season, so maybe the points we're putting into control are making a difference. Maybe. And Doohan hits a 81 overall with that. And I think Porsche has got to be right on the verge of doing the same thing. Maybe on his next point, he might just do it. He was 2 or 3 points behind, but he has definitely gotten more points of late. So I did the math on it, and Doohan is 4 points ahead of Porsche at this stage. Pace-wise, Porsche is +3, so he's +1 average. Consistency-wise, Doohan is +2 in the consistency department, where he's got extra points in accuracy, where Porsche has a few extra points in smoothness. The +5 in accuracy is more than the +3 to Porsche in smoothness, leading to a +2 for Doohan. So overall, after those two categories, Porsche is +1. They're right there, neck and neck. They have the exact same adaptability rating of a 62, but they have different ratings in overtaking. Porsche has a 70 and a 72, with a 71 in defending for Doohan. That's +1 more to Porsche. That's +2 overall. But the overtaking is a +6 for Doohan. Doohan goes through the grid a little bit easier, a little bit faster. That +6 negates the +2 overall that Doohan has, so that's +4 to Doohan right now. It's going to take a little bit yet for Pourchaire to catch up to him, but like I said, just over the last 5 races, I think Doohan's picked up a couple more points. So he's closed that gap a little bit. So it would be mid-season next year, early mid-season maybe, when Pourchaire physically catches Doohan and starts to overtake him as the better driver. But realistically, they are so close to the same, and yet somehow Doohan, who has better accuracy and control, keeps making all the mistakes. In a rarity, it was Pourchaire ahead of Albon last year in Brazil, and it was also Pourchaire who was 1/10 of a second off Verstappen, the second closest race that we've ever had. Albon did not finish, crashed out pretty early. He only finished 13 laps. Rough day for him. A lot of straight sections here, but not max speed kind of ones. Low speed, a bit more important than high speed or medium speed, and we're better at low speed compared to the others. So, or are we? Either way, the car is not what it was, so it's going to be a challenge regardless, but hopefully Ferrari is even slower. And to hold off Red Bull, we only need a few points, and we need Verstappen to have a bad day or two, with Pourchaire managing to score just enough if he's going to take the drivers. More worried about the constructors, though.
The carnival atmosphere has already started here in Sao Paulo as Brazil welcomes the Formula One Grand Prix. The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache has been a staple of the racing calendar for decades, and soon we'll once again be watching the best drivers in the world give it their all. The Sao Paulo track is beautifully designed to present an enticing challenge for teams and drivers alike. Between medium-speed S-corners, hill climbs, and the high-speed section after Junsao, this circuit calls for cars to have a balanced setup to succeed here. Williams need another brilliant push to win the championship. Can they make it happen?
They're facing off against the formidable Ferrari, who won't go down without a fight.
11 drivers have penalties this race weekend, including Jack Doohan. He has a grid penalty of +5. That does not mean we're going to go to the back and take new parts, though. He's got twice used race components and 2 races to go. They'll be just fine for 2 races. We don't need to waste $3 million or $2 million on additional, and we certainly don't want him to go backwards. We want him to be competitive. With 10 others having grid penalties, he shouldn't be going back too far, but again, our pace is not great right now, so he might be starting just outside of the top 10. Made the decision that I wanted to see us fail.
Let's take a look at the replay. Now we see the Williams here.
That was not the decision I made.
Oh, a nasty crash there. And that was a bitter blow for the team. And
The decision I made was Pourchaire was going to go for it. He has twice used components in the car and 2 races to go, so it was going to be 4 total times using them, as they're still going to be the best set for the next race as long as he hasn't destroyed anything. As for Doohan, I made the decision that because he's got the 5 grid spot penalty, my goal is to just try to get him into the points. He's not going to be competing for the race win necessarily. Therefore, I used our second freshest set because his most fresh set is not in as good a shape as Pourchaire's. And so I was going to save it to only have to use it a 3rd time. Abu Dhabi, keep it a bit fresher for the last race. Just aim to get in the points here. But now with Pourchaire starting from the back, because he's 20th, at least there's 11 cars with penalties. He'll move up some. Pourchaire only 14th after 1 run. Doohan, that is. Doohan 14th after 1 run. Green in the first sector. fresh tires because we need everything we can get. And he's not going to get out of Q1. 16th. 16th. Porsche at least has an excuse. He crashed out, but doing. These are not used components to the extent that he should be seeing an exit. Both cars are going to be starting from the back. It's going to be a rough race. It's not a tongue twister. I'm flustered. The only good news is that both Red Bulls and both Ferraris are carrying penalties. Now I'm wondering if I cough up the $2 million for Jack Doohan or let him move up to P12. I think we're going to take the P12. He shouldn't be that slow, but it is what it is.
There's electricity in the air, but there's no surprises in that. It's race day.
Williams had a good performance in qualifying. Now they'll be eager to demonstrate that they can have an even better race.
Good performance in qualifying? Seriously? Neither car got out of Q1. We pushed it up to 87 and 85% confidence, not as high as it's been in other races. You can see we're right about 70% on the wear, and then 80, and gearbox damage. Gearbox damage for Porsche. So he has destroyed his gearbox. His ERS was at 90 something percent. Both take a hit. The engine's okay. I think we need a new gearbox. I mean, we can get through 2 races on this, but we're already at the back. But I know we can move up here. I'm going to take the grid position. We shouldn't be that much slower. Or will we?
We have beautiful blue skies overhead as the drivers line up on the grid. Here's Williams. They're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. And looking at the second Williams car. Slower than most yesterday, so today they'll be starting from the bottom half of the grid. Everything's been building to this. And now, it's time for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away
And
we
we're
go.
racing from the back with a different strategy. 15th and 17th starting overall. And we are the only ones on the hard compound. It's a 2-stopper for everyone. And we are looking to make that 2-stopper go as we go 3 wide through here with the Mercedes of Ocon. We're looking to go hard, medium, medium to be faster at the end of the race. We are super light so that we can keep up, which means we need to settle in very early on, and Doohan already into a position by himself needs to settle in, even though we're still very much in traffic here. Again, we are facing Ocon here, and we're just going to settle in and go fast with this one for a while. We're not doing anything on this stint, not on this compound, not with Ocon on softs and us on the hards. We're not going to be faster than him or anyone else around us. But the good news, Perez and Verstappen behind us. Leclerc is 7th. Just under a second down, and Gasly makes a mistake and goes straight to the back of the grid after he locks up on turn 3 and has to wait to rejoin. Rejoins from last place. I don't know if he was in first, but he was very close to first. Oh, and then Doohan spins. I think he said he spun before he even spun. He's going to rejoin still in 16th, but he's going to hold up Perez and Verstappen. So there's that. Again, Doohan making mistakes but causing others harm. As he holds up the back end of the grid, Gasly catches up to them. And Doohan 5 seconds behind. Porsche still locked in behind Ocon, keeping pace. Perez gets around with DRS.
Ferrari
And now leads the group, but again, big deficit. I'll take that big deficit. Vettel, though, creating a big deficit for Porsche's group. That's his problem. We might need a safety car today to get up there. But do we want to get up there? Well, Leclerc's in the points, so you got to watch out for him. Sainz is not. Sainz is in the group that's behind. Fuel. Doohan's gotten better by a 10th. Porsche has gotten worse. Porsche is getting worse, but he's close behind these guys in front. Let's go ahead and do a little lift and coast. It's So Doohan is 19th, Perez just in front of him, then Verstappen, and here's the first wave of pit stops. 3 guys are in. It's lap 18. We've got quite a ways to go until we are planning to pit. Front 5 now. And one of those front 6 pit. Does not recover naturally, but you can recover it pretty quickly with a lift and coast, as we picked up 3/10 on Porsche in, what, a lap? And actually then went aggressive again to close up on Magnussen, which we're close to Magnussen, so let's go ahead and go conserve again. Where did Magnussen go? Oh, that's Doohan. There's Magnussen. I'm looking at Doohan down here going, he's 5 seconds back. And then we run wide. For no reason whatsoever. That's a corner that's full gas. There's no reason to run wide there. Or a couple of those days. We move into the race lead though. And Doohan moves up to P2. Everybody else has now pit. And now we are just waiting it out for our pit window. Doohan only 3 seconds ahead of Guan Yu Zhou. Has he pit yet? Yes, he has. Yikes. A lot of guys using the hards on this stint. Not too many on the mediums. They're going to go medium, medium, hard though. Those on the hards are going to go medium, hard, medium. We're doing the reverse with the hard, medium, medium. So we will be faster the remainder of the race after this stint. For now, we're at 54, 55%. And we'll see what happens when we get into our pit window. Meanwhile, Guan Yu Zhou is playing catch-up. Now, we're light, so that's going to make us faster for the rest of the stint while we're out there running on our own. And you see others are not quickly closing up on us, but they definitely are. Doohan has been caught. Multiple cars have crashed. There is a crash. There is a crash. It's self-compromising, but Perez and Sainz right at the back right now. Verstappen is P12. Leclerc is P8. Of course, we have not pit yet. Zhou has already overtaken Doohan. Zhou has already overtaken Doohan. Doohan is behind. 5/10. Can he keep it within DRS range? So he runs a little wide because he's letting Bottas through. Is our pace really that bad? Even with this light on fuel? Our pace is absurd now that they're on brand new tires and we're not. But, I mean, come on. This is awful pace. Still under a second. That's to leader. Just barely hanging on. I think next lap we need to pit. But DRS this time. Keep us going. A little bit longer. 4.4 to Russell. Doohan comes out in P18, by the way. P18 for him, but he's going to be medium, medium the rest of the way. And he's right behind Sainz and already has passed Sainz. We are closing up on the leaders right now, 22.2. We've gained a second. Porsche into the pits. From third position. We extended that by 4 or 5 laps, which means we can extend this one by 2 or 3. It's going to give us the ability to push harder, or we extend by 5, make a normal run, and then really push at the end. Porsche comes out just ahead of Doohan. So Doohan has closed up on him. Those extra laps making a difference. The 4-second gap becomes 8/10. Porsche is going to have a little extra pace. That's going to help close up on Stroll, and then that's going to help Doohan close up as well. We've had a few looks, but keep tucking in. Oh, there's a run wide of Latifi. Did Latifi already
I
rejoin
think someone's run
and
wide.
blocked Doohan? I want to
Let's
see
have a
this. I
look.
think he ran wide and then
Just
blocked Doohan.
focus on the
We're going to be
hands.
really lucky that he doesn't crash
They're
into him
forced
here.
wide, and
Oh
there
my
we
gosh,
can
yeah,
see
he
them
does.
slide off.
Wow. That should be a penalty right there. This game doesn't have that. And we are challenging now. Getting ahead of Stroll up to P14. We got to turn that down right away. We can't afford to keep that up. Back to neutral.
And a new position, just gained
Now
by
remember, we're
Williams.
already five laps to the good for Pourchaire. He's up to P14. Doing now. Challenging Latifi, who 1 lap ago nearly murdered him. And we're going to take him to the inside. Yellow in sector 2, and wow.
It's a spin.
That was a close call. That's Magnussen. That is Magnussen.
Looks like a good
And we're up to
move for Williams.
P3. 13 and 15 now. So doing making one legit overtake and then just missing Magnussen in the middle of the road. Amazingly, nobody else hit him. Magnussen gets going again, and now Latifi is well back. So you can see we're at 23.6. Magnussen at 27, Latifi 28.9. So Sainz gets left behind. So there's one direct competitor who's in the dust and in trouble. Verstappen, all the way up to P7. He has recovered well, but he pit much earlier than a lot of other guys. He's on 66% already on his hards. And then how we look at 77, 86 for Pourchaire. And you just see a lot of guys that are set to pit here pretty soon. Now, everybody has made one stop. So far, we have progressed from the back of the field up to P11, P14. And some of these guys are slow now. Some of these guys are going to be slow on their final stint. We are fast the rest of the way. So we are moving forward, not backwards. I like that. That is good. Doohan, on his own though, 3 seconds behind Albon. So difficult to do anything at the moment. And as we go conserve for a little bit longer and get this fuel a little bit better off as these two are battling back and forth, might as well save up a little bit, especially we're a little worse off than Doohan. And it's already lap 42. And all we haven't even recovered 1 kilogram of 3. Okay, balanced. Another overtake incoming. That's Perez. That is Perez. But Leclerc, meanwhile, is making a move for P3.
Copy.
With DRS, we're going to get right on past Schumacher as well, up into P9. We have the pace. We have the pace. But of course, part of that's because of how light we are. And the fact that we're on fresher mediums compared to everybody else. But now we're going to have to run normal for a while. Meanwhile, with Doohan, he is still out there on his own, dragging Stroll around with him. But he is gaining on the leaders as well. Somebody locked up. Somebody locked up. It's somebody ahead of us. It's an Alpine. It's Ricardo, I believe.
Is that a lockup?
Yes. Ricardo with the lockup, and then he runs wide afterward. Lucky not to crash himself out. He was up around Verstappen. It would have been nice if he could have taken him out. I think he was the one who was just overtaken by Leclerc just a little bit ago. Right now, our 2 direct competitors each have 1 driver up in the points who head into the pits from P3 and P4. Pourchaire from 9 seconds back is now just 6 seconds back of Vettel.
Just gained by
From
Williams.
22 seconds down, he's now just 12 seconds down. He has gained 10 seconds on the front of the field. Pit window entering for Doohan. Might be able to extend just a little bit to help that last stint be faster. But by a little bit, I mean, you know, another lap or 2. Checking in on the tire compounds. Yeah, all the guys around us are on the hards and also need to pit. They will be on the mediums at the end. So we are directly racing them. And then you have Verstappen leading the way of those who are done, but they're on the hards. So they are going to be off pace for the last run. Stroll already onto the mediums for his final run, and Guan Yu Zhou heads into the pits now. So it's about that time. You can see it's just about that time with Doohan. 50%. 50% for doing. I think we now go aggressive and extend by about 2 laps. Oh, getting challenged by Verstappen on his brand new hard compound, who's done with pit stops. So we're going to be a full pit stop behind him. He's going to be slow, but he's not going to be as slow as us. That's scary. Vettel, Russell, Schumacher, all pitting. Ignore. Let's gap to Verstappen. Can we keep up with Verstappen? Just inside 1 second. We'll get DRS here. We're outside of a second now, but that's where the DRS opens. Not where the detection zone is. But you can see we barely close up. 9.938 is all we managed to close it up on. That's how much faster he is than us on his fresh compound. Oof. Porsche, just 10 seconds behind Bottas now. It's Bottas we've been following for quite a while here. And Doohan is really starting to lose pace. That's Joe on brand new mediums, right? Yes. Brand new mediums. Bottas in the pits. Porsche effectively gained 12 seconds on that stint. 12 seconds he picked up. We were 22 down. If he can gain 12 seconds on the next stint, he would be ahead. But Bottas, well, Bottas is going to come out on the hards, so he will be slow. And Joe already on the mediums is going to have a hard time finishing the race. Russell Vettel also having just pit. Schumacher having just pit. I mean, you could make it. You could definitely make it, but Doohan for now having a little bit easier time following Guan Yu Zhou than he was following Verstappen. But Porsche has inherited the race lead, and he is going to start to go aggressive. Okay, he's already at the point where he could pit. This is the lap that I was planning on pitting Porsche, where I was planning on pitting Doohan a lap ago. But of course we extended that first stint for Porsche, so he can go a bit deeper, and that'll allow him to be more aggressive on the mediums. And you can see how we're losing pace now. We don't want to lose pace in the final few laps. We want to have that pace still at the end. But of course, we're not going to wait too long for Porsche. But Doohan at 40%. Oh man. So Gasly spins. That's going to hold up a bunch of cars. Let's hope that we're going to come out ahead of all those guys, because Doohan down in P17 has a lot of overtaking to do to go forward. And yeah, he's got that 95%. These guys got on a bit earlier.
They've locked up and gone straight on.
Magnussen, lock up. Field's definitely spread out. We're pitting from first, but we're the last ones to pit, so everybody else has already made their 2 stops. Gasly still needs to pit, and Ocon, or at least they need to pit because of the mistakes they made in extra time. And we're going to come out just outside of the points. I think Porsche is going to get into the points. I'm worried about Verstappen's progress, but if he doesn't win, if we at least get him only P2, picks up 8, if Porsche could get up to around P5, get ahead of Leclerc, I would call that a very, very good day. Severely overheating already. Wow. Jeez. He didn't even run 1 lap. And we still need to take care of fuel. Doohan is close behind these guys. Go ahead and conserve. Porsche will be catching up shortly to Perez and should be able to overtake him. Yeah, he's already within a second now, so he'll have DRS. 3 wide? Nope. Almost went 3 wide. Following the 2 of them is problematic at the moment. If we can get 1 of them, then we're in the driver's seat to go forward. But Porsche is in a far better position than Doohan to get points today. Pourchaire with the overtake on Perez.
Fastest lap.
New fastest lap. He will finish the job. Detection zone. He's going to get the double DRS as a result. He's got this. He's got this without any ERS, without pushing. He'll have Perez.
Keep doing what you're doing.
P9. P9. 2.5 seconds behind Russell. Doing. Now at 1.5.
And there's an
It's
overtake
at 57.
from Williams.
It's at 57. This is not coming back very quick. We need to get away from Perez. Once we manage to do that, we're going to have to start fuel saving. Or at least we need to get up behind Russell and start fuel saving. Big time. Big time. This is going to be close. The pace is there because of the underfueling. But because of the underfueling, we may not make it to the end of the race. Doing? It's going to be a little closer to pulling that off, but he's not going forward. We cannot be aggressive at all on the fuel. Three wide. Three wide? We are three wide, and who backs out of it? The guy furthest ahead. The guy furthest ahead in the middle backs out. Conserve. Verstappen spins! Verstappen spins! He's dropped to P6. He got going right away. He spun around and kept going. Just full 360 and kept going, but lift and coast. Lift and coast. Don't touch these guys for a little bit. Doing leading the group now in P14, but he's 8.5 seconds behind.
Okay, there's a big crash.
Big crash. Safety car is coming out. That's going to help with the... That's going to take care of that fuel. That is going to take care of that fuel.
Safety car.
Definitely not pitting. Track position. Paramount. Or doing from 14th. No way he's getting in the points. Lap 61.
There's been a crash.
We're not giving up much to pit. Take the softs. We've seen how big of a difference it is on the mediums. But fuel is still not right. Pourchaire, how is he still 1.1? He's not recovered any fuel. He's not recovered any fuel whatsoever.
Overtake is available if needed.
No overtaking until the control line.
Okay, Pourchaire from P9. I don't see how he's not made up any fuel. 2 laps of a safety car? 1 lap of a safety car, was it? One and a quarter laps? That still should have made up fuel.
Push through all corners.
I'm nervous that Pourchaire's going to run out of fuel. Doohan's improved by, what, half a kilogram? 6/10 of a kilogram?
Lap 8.
Pourchaire didn't improve at all. How is that possible? How is that possible? He should be down to about a 0.6. Oh, and Doohan runs wide. Doohan's down to last. Lose.
And there's an overtake.
I don't know
from
how he
Williams.
went through the safety car period with him on conserve the entire time and came out of the safety car period a lap and a half behind the safety car and gained no fuel whatsoever. That has to be a glitch.
And a new position just gained by Williams.
He was at 1.1 and he started on 1.1. Or was he that much worse off than I thought he was? I don't know. Doohan's up to 16th now. He's made 3 overtakes. But because of the running wide thing, he definitely put himself backwards in a bad way. Leclerc 5th, Verstappen 6th. 0.4 on the fuel. And we're about to be down to 2 laps. 0.3. This is so close to working.
2 more laps. 2 more laps.
No, it's back up to 0.4. That's straight away. 0.3. Will we be able to coast across the line? Are they worried about the... There's a huge gap behind... Oh, it's behind Perez, not behind Porsche. And it's not huge. It's 1.6. But it's definitely a gap, and we're not going forward. And we're out of fuel. We're out of fuel. And we cross the line still in 8th. We cross the line still in 8th. But do we get credit? We didn't finish the race with fuel. We park up in 8th place. We'll see what happens with that one. First I've seen of it. We almost made it to the line. That stopped really fast, though. That's not how that's supposed to work. He would have cruised right on his way. But does he get credit for 8th position? Does. We got 1 point. Oh, man. Talk about a squeeze. Leclerc took 5th. Verstappen took 6th. Ferrari get 4 points. Verstappen gets 3. Porsche gets 1. So Red Bull gained 2 points on us. They are not eliminated yet. Porsche still ahead in the Drivers' Championship. Ferrari gained 3 points, though. Drivers making mistakes, both of them today. That's rough. Porsche has a 3-point lead over Verstappen with a single race to go, doing his 6th. And in the Constructors, we gained just 1 point, but we have a 1-point advantage over Ferrari. And Red Bull is 15 behind. So they could have a 1st and a 3rd if we don't score any points, and they could still win it. But they also need Ferrari to have pretty much the exact same result. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. 1 race to go. That was a rough one. But at least we got 1 point out of it. I think that 1 point was pretty important. And them not scoring a ton definitely helped, but yowzer. That's going to do it for this episode on Decathlon Gamer. If you didn't notice, I've stretched out these episodes just a little bit to help cover the period that I'm on vacation for. We've got this one more, and then I will resume the series after I return from vacation. But like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.